Boom, boom, boom. Welcome to Franchise Mode. We are here for another episode. We got the NBA free agency coming. I got another banger special guest, one of my closest friends. We're going to introduce him in a second. Again, you've been showing love on the Spotify, the Apple Podcast, and the YouTube. I really appreciate you all. Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to have a banger episode. We're going to talk about all the drama coming up. Stay tuned. Okay, so we saw Stephen A. Smith in distraught on draft night with his New York Knicks. Little did he know it could get worse, or maybe better in some people's opinion. So they said the Knicks have traded Nerlens Noel, Alex Burks to Detroit, lost some picks here and there, not the craziest picks, so they can clear cap space for Jalen Brunson, who's allegedly going to get 4 years, $110 million. What do you think about the Knicks going all in on Jalen Brunson?
I think Jalen Brunson is a fine player. I think he could really play. But him becoming a New York Knick at the price that they're gonna probably play him at, and it's not necessarily like he was a guy that averaged 16-5. I'm not mad with that, and I know a lot of people like, well, look at Terry Rozier's contract, but it's the Knicks. Yeah. It's the Knicks. Like it's Charlotte. Charlotte has to overpay for players to come. Like, you just have to. It's the Knicks. It's New York. He's not going to be able to hide. Like, it's a huge market, and you're just not going to be able to hide. And I think, like I said, he's a fine player, but I'm not like you're based with the Knicks signing Jalen Brunson to this contract, essentially, if they do, right? Or if he signs, he will be asked, not necessarily he'll be the guy in terms of making everybody on the floor better. And I'm not saying he's not capable of that, but can he do that at a high perennial all-star level? I'm not sure. You're asking him to raise the floor for RJ Bird. Can he do that effectively? I'm not sure. You have a guy in Julius Randle who I really like, but still can't go right effectively. So if you're asking me, Jalen Brunson to the Knicks, how much better does he make them? In this Eastern Conference, I'm really not sure. I'm really, maybe best case scenario, RJ Bird takes another step. Jalen Brunson looks competent. They're maybe fighting for a playing spot.
Maybe
that's the best case scenario I can really come up with the acquisition of Jalen Brunson. But it's a huge difference, playing alongside one of the best players in basketball and Luka Doncic, and then happening to face or be the guy in New York for the Knicks, and everyone is expecting you to like really literally around the other four guys to like full raise and bring and help their progression. It's a lot better.
And it's like Brunson's a good player. He's not a great player. He's like really a Villanova NBA player. Like, they come in, Mikal Bridges, like, they're going to be good. They're never going to be great. Like, pretty, really high floor. But like, ceiling is like really not that close to their floor. I mean, not that far from their floor.
Right.
It's like he's going to be good, but is he going to, like you say, is he going to be good enough for what the Knicks need? I don't think he will. Like, it's going to be really interesting. For one, I truthfully don't know why he would take the contract. I have no idea why he would go there. It'd be really interesting to leave Luka Doncic, to me, just be a really interesting pick, like by choice. Like, and he's going to get like similar. I think the difference is about $4 million a year.
Yeah,
it's going to be really like, you just don't leave probably the greatest playmaker of your lifetime you'll play with. Like, that just doesn't seem smart to me. Like, it just doesn't seem. And then you all played pretty well together. Like, all his statistics were better with Luka on the court. Like, his percentages, his efficiency. Of course, his numbers might be a little higher, but that's more of a volume than actual play. So clearly, him and Luka have a good relationship. Like, they fit really well. I truthfully don't know why he would leave and go to the Knicks for, again, a team I don't like. I'm a Wizards fan. I'm not sure if they are even better than the Wizards. It's a great question. I don't like Julius Randle. Again, we talk about DeJounte Murray in one segment not being a top 20 guy. I mean, is Randle a top 30 guy? Top 35 guy? Like,
that's a legitimate question.
He's gonna he's on a max deal, so he's gonna get paid more than you. He won't be better than you. So it's like, what are we gonna do here? Then it's like,
Right.
again, who's gonna play defense on this team? Like
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson's probably out the door. So you have your best defender is probably you at 6 foot.
1. At
I don't
six
know.
one.
I don't know what you're expecting to do. Like, I don't know what the goal is there. It's going to be interesting. I don't see them making the playoffs, even with Brunson, even with RJ Barrett taking a jump. They're not going to be better than the team like the Cleveland Cavaliers with no max player.
Oh,
Zero
absolutely.
maxes.
No max player for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Cavs have a better, well-constructed roster than the Knicks.
Way better defense, just as good of offense.
Just as good as offense. I mean, what's the gap, if there is? What's the gap between Garland and Brunson?
With Garland
and Brunson.
I ain't gonna lie, Garland's probably better. He might be a
Garland
better player.
Better.
Like he's younger, definitely better on his upside. Like I'm probably by like if we're projecting going into next year, which usually you do, you have your type of conversations. I think he'll be better. Like next year, he'll be a better player. We all know he's a better playmaker. Like that's just guaranteed. Like
right,
he's a better playmaker. He's a better shooter. And the defense and everything. Like okay, but overall, the Mavericks would also probably sign up for that Garland over Brunson trade just because you add another shooter. Like right. Better shooter. Not that Brunson can't shoot, he can shoot really well, but Garland's a little bit better at some of the stuff Brunson is good at. So and
I think you make a valid point. Like certain guys just don't leave. Like it's just certain guys you just don't leave. Like guys leaving LeBron usually don't work out. And Luka could be truly one of those. I think he is truly one of those generational type talents where like you just don't leave. Like you don't leave Magic Johnson. Like you just.
Not on purpose.
Leave those type of guys.
Like unless you're traded, I would sign up to ride this man's like career. Like knowing that Brunson knows that he's not a number one. Like he knows this. Like I mean, you got all the confidence in the world. Yeah. He knows he's not like LeBron James. He just knows that. He knows his role. He knows I'm a starter level. Probably even he's never an all-star caliber player. Right. So he understands his own limitations. Like I'm a really good player, but I have limitations. I would attach myself to a player that I'm like, oh, this guy can be actually the greatest of all time if I do my role right and the team gets it right. I see that like he's going to be the best player I probably ever played with. Mm-hmm. So I just don't leave that guy to go play with Julius Randle. I'm sorry, like
that's a fact. That's a fact.
Someone that's won a dark hole, like he doesn't pass the ball. So it's like I'm not signing up for that. But yeah, okay. So but then for our next one, we have the Washington Wizards. We just talk about them a little bit. Yeah. They did trade today. They traded Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Smith from Monte Morris, Will Barton. What was your take on that?
The Wizards, I kind of feel two ways about this trade because I'm like, okay, you got Will Barton a little bit, Will the Thrill, and Monte Morris. Two, I think Will Barton is still a reputable like starter in this league. I think he's a star. I think he's still a starter in this league. It's easy for Denver to move off of that because I feel like Denver, with the guys that they have drafted over the past couple of years, I feel like a guy like Bones Highland will be able to step into that Monte Morris role and be that backup guard that they need with Jamal Murray coming back. And the same could be said for a guy like Christian Brown that they drafted this past year in the draft. Yep. So Denver, it makes sense. In KCP, 3-and-D guy can knock it down.
He's going to start day one. You know that. Like, right. He's going to be your shooting guard, and he's going to fit 5% perfectly.
With Washington, I'm just not sure what to make of this. I don't know if this is an insurance move, just in case Bradley Beal doesn't come back. If Beal does come back, I think these are some cool acquisition and pieces to have. But once again, it's kind of like discussing the New York Knicks. If you bring Bradley Beal back, assuming that it's a supermax deal, right?
Yeah.
What is your ceiling as a team? Oh yeah, it's probably the worst position an NBA franchise can be in. Not good enough to win multiple playoff series, but also not bad enough where you like stink up the joint and you have like the number 1, number 2 pick. Like no. You're going to be in that in-between position that is the worst spot in the NBA for any team to be in.
Yep.
And it feels like the Wizards have like just been in that spot for some time now. And if they don't move, if they can't find a way, and also with the Bradley Beal stuff, when has the Supermax contract ever worked?
Yeah, for a player that wasn't like Curry or Giannis, like never. Like it's a bad con. Even Westbrook.
If you're not a top 3 player or arguably best player in the world. Why am I giving you the Supermax?
Even Westbrook, who was the MVP of the league when he got it, looks bad now. It looks bad. The worst contract in the NBA. Like he was the MVP of the league when he got the contract. So it's like it's going to be interesting. One thing I can say, I mean, KCP I'm not gonna say he wasn't a good fit in the Wizards because he was, but he's kind of clogging minutes for players they probably want to play. So it's like you probably want to just trade him to a team that can actually use him. And I think he's a better fit with the Nuggets because he's a championship level player. Like you want him on your team. He's your Danny Green, your Robert Covington, just the player you add to win the championship. Your PJ Tucker, defender, shoot a 3-ball, perfect to play with a joker and a team that needs defense. Versus the Wizards, you have 0 point guards on the roster. Like you had to get some point guard. I think this is insurance for week 1. Well, I guess the first game of the season.
Yeah,
you have someone that's capable of starting an NBA game. He can shoot good from the 3. He can pass the ball. He won't get in Bradley Beal's way. You won't have to go through another Spencer Dinwiddie situation, and he's only making $9 million a year. Will Barton is just, I think, a player that's kind of just thrown in the deal to make the money work. He's on an expiring contract, $14 million. He's from the area. He's a scorer, punch off the bench. You'll have him and now your rookie, probably Johnny Davis, as your 2 scoring punches off the bench.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the roster comes together. It's also cool. Like I said, the Monte Morris and Kuzma are from the same. They were in the same second grade class.
Yeah.
I know the TikTok. I know if you follow the TikTok, we made TikTok today. You should go look at that at Mac and Ron Network on TikTok. But I thought that was really cool. But overall, like you said, I mean, the Wizards are a play-in team. Like, I'm not sure if they're the 8th seed. Like, I'm not sure. The East is pretty good. Like, I mean, well, to be honest, both conferences they're not as bad as they used to be. Like, there's now just bottom trash anymore. Teams are going for it. The Cavs are like the 7th best team in the East.
Yeah,
the Wizards aren't.
And they're going for it.
Like the Wizards aren't a better team than them, so it's going to be interesting what happens. I think they'll probably be like, we'll just see with injuries, but they seem like a play-in team to me. Off the top of my head, I do like Porzingis. We haven't got a chance to see Bill plus Porzingis plus Kuzma. That little core the Wizards are trying to go with, that should be fun to see. So
that's a core is funny.
Yes, that's the core. I guess that's like, I mean, I guess that's your Brunson, Randall, and RJ. Like, these are the 3 cores about this episode. So these are teams that's going to be fighting for that 8th seed to basically get swept. So it's going to be interesting to see. And any final takes on this Wizards thing?
Yeah, I think you make a good point. They had no point. You made this point in draft night. They have like literally no point guard. No point guard play at all. No point guard on the roster. So that I feel like that was a decent move to make. Monte Morris, he's a guy that he's a jack of all trades. He can shoot.
He's solid.
He's solid. Solid. He does nothing spectacularly great, but he can shoot the 3 a little bit. He can finish. He can defend a little bit. And he can play make. He does just a little bit of everything. And like you said with KCP, I think the move makes sense for Denver. Like Denver, they're trying to compete. With their guys,
win now.
Yeah, they're trying to compete and go all out in the Western Conference. So yeah, I want to see a healthy if Bill resigns. I want to see what this team can look like. Like I said, ceiling maybe a bottom tier playoff team.
Basically,
bottom tier playoff team, just similarly to the Knicks if they add Jalen Brunson.
Damn.